Progression comes from limited options. Now, this can come in the form of your work, it can come in the form of ideas, but with any aspect of life, you only make progress when you limit your options. And this, although this has been a thing I have known for now years, a number of years, at least two or three, it's something that I didn't properly act on and truly realize I didn't comprehend until maybe 6 months ago, maybe a bit later than that, maybe more like a few months ago. And even in different areas until very recently. And the reason we have to limit our options is because we generally feel like we're making progress on something if we feel like we have a lot on the go. And if, for instance, we have five or six things we need to work on, but when they aren't prioritized, then we just have five or six things to work on now, but then we get none of them done. So in terms of like productivity and efficiency of tasks, we have to limit our options by prioritizing them. We might have to get all five or six done today or this week or this month, but until we prioritize them, we're going to get none of them done because they're all top priority to us, or the same amount, same level of priority. And this comes with business ideas or creative ideas or whatever it might be. I've been in the position before where I wasn't making any progress on a single idea because I had three or four ideas and they were all really good to me and I didn't know what one to focus on. But it's only until we narrow them down to the one's highest priority or the one that is best in our minds that we actually start making progress on those ideas. And often, it might take trial and error, but we still have to make them, priorities. We don't have to prioritize the ideas or the plans or the goals. And this comes in terms of like kind of goal setting and prioritization in life. This actually comes down to a Brian Tracy kind of thought and goal setting experiment, which is I think he said something like write down 15 or 30 goals or however many. Basically, write down more than just 10 or 5 or 10, and then when you've written them all down, like life goals, there can be specific ones and some can be broader. And what you want to do is you want to write down them all, and then you want to pick the one you want to do most, and then the one you want to do second, and then want to do third. And then those are your three goals, either for maybe your year or maybe your entire life. But either way, it's about limiting all of your options down to these highest priority ones. Because when we start writing down our goals, we kind of open the bucket of ideas and thoughts in our head, and then we truly get to see where our intentions are and where our goals and desires are. And then once we start prioritizing them, right, which ones do we actually want to focus on out of these 15? Right, this one, and this one. Okay, now we have our priorities in order. Now we have our true goals in order. And so when it comes to like goal setting, that's an amazing one in terms of priorities. And then when you have those three, it can be, right, which one can I achieve first? Okay, let me like create the goals for that one. So whether it comes to goal setting or productivity, whether it's tasks or ideas for business or creative stuff, limiting your options is key. And it's not, like I said, about, only focusing on one thing. You can trial and error different things, but you only want to be focusing on one of them at a time. You can't focus on three things at the same time. You have to focus on one of them, then the next one, then the next one. And that's also because you don't know which one's going to work. Like you might have to go through every stage of ideation and trying to figure out which idea works, but you do have to do all of them one by one by one because we just can't focus on more than one thing at a time. And ultimately, this is why people that are able to, see a million different ideas but go, that one, tunnel vision, let's go. If it doesn't work out, we pick another one, tunnel vision, let's go. But either way, usually if you stick to something for long enough, you're guaranteed you're going to get some result from it either way. If it doesn't work, you can just pivot and move to another one until you start seeing results, or pivot again. But the thing is that most people don't stay on one idea for long enough. And this is where we've all been. And this is what kind of Alex Hormozi and many other influential kind of entrepreneurial influencers mention, is the shiny object syndrome. And that we're all trying to focus on these, we got this idea, we're going to try and work on this. If you're a creative person, we're going to work on a short film for 90 days. It doesn't work out. We're going to try and work on this business here for 90 days. Does dropshipping work 90 days later? Nope. Does ecom, does anything in ecom work? Does anything in SMMA work? And we all try to throw ideas We're all trying to do something for 30 to 90 days and we don't see results from it. But it's because one, in that case, even if we have limited our option to one to see how it works, we're just not sticking to it for long enough. And there's actually a Bill Gates quote here that most people overestimate what can be done in a year, but underestimate what can be done in 10 years. And you can also make this even smaller, because most people overestimate what they can do in a month, but underestimate what they can do in 6 months. And so, if you think of it in that case, you will most likely get some results from a business if you stuck to it for just 6 months, or even a year. Which is why I think even Alex Hormozi says, just try something for a year. If you do a business for a year and you don't get results, then maybe it's not going to work out. Maybe on this 18-month period or 2-year period it might work, but typically after a year you'll get an idea if something's going to work or not. So stop trying to do this 90-day sprint. Try stick to start marathons, because ultimately, especially in the kind of success and self-help space, it's all about marathons. And yet we've got a bunch of sprinters. We've got a bunch of people trying to sprint. And so you really have to change from a sprinter to a marathon runner, because we're not trying to win 100-meter, 50-meter sprints. We're trying to win a lifelong marathon. Because I think that's the misconception as well here, is that people don't want to limit their options because they just want the quickest result. They want the results that's going to come as fast as possible. And especially with entrepreneurship and business building and being creative and just having ideas, before we have people that we can spread our ideas amongst and get creative with, we have to limit our options, pick the one that is our highest priority one, and stick to that until we start getting results. And until we're in a position where we can ideate amongst people and we have people to help us with stuff, we have to stick to the one thing until we get the results. So we have to shift from being the sprinter that wants to try and get a result in 3 to 6 months or even a month to be the person that is happy to wait a year for literally the smallest result to happen, maybe even 5 years or 10 years. Because ultimately that's what it is. We're trying to, build businesses here. If we're business owners, or if you're entrepreneurial, we're trying to build things for the long term. We're trying to build things that outlive us. And sprinters don't do that, but marathon runners do. And so with whatever area of life it is, whether it's productivity, whether it's business ideas, whether it's creative ideas, limiting your options will help you make the most progress. I've made the most progress when I have had 3 ideas. A good friend of mine, gave me, this task, just 3 tasks per day, small and achievable tasks. And obviously, as you progress with doing tasks and task progression every day, you can make them bigger and bigger and bigger. But obviously, that is like one progression in itself. I have 3 priorities every day, and I just tick them off as I do them. And so that helps me with my limited options. I'm not trying to, if I don't write them down, I probably won't do them for a start, which helps me as well. But then by limiting my options to just these 3, and then in terms of picking the highest priority, I know that the top one is the highest priority, then second, then third, and then I do them in that order. So in terms of my efficiency and productivity, I know that I'm getting that much done in the day. Even if it's only 1 to 2 hours work, I know I'm being as productive as I possibly can in those 1 to 2 hours, and I try to fill my time as well with other things. And obviously, as I progress more and more and more, I'm going to fill up more and more of my day with productive things. And generally, whether it comes to, again, productivity with tasks or business ideas, as soon as you start limiting your ideas, you will start to see progress. So I think that's about it. I didn't want to kind of ramble on for too long about limiting your options, but ultimately, the moral of this entire story in this video is limit your options so that you can make progress. And don't try and be the sprinter for success, try and be the marathon runner. To end with a motivational kind of thought. But there we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and comment your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.